Hello everyone! Today I'm going to share with you how to access and get started on your Food Made Good sustainability rating. So as always, you're going to want to start by heading to www.foodmadegood.org and entering your login details. Before we go much further, it is worth noting that the sustainability rating is something that is only completed by our food service provider members. So if you are a supplier member, this really won't be the most relevant video for you. But fantastic. So let's assume you are a food service provider member. To get started on your rating, you're going to want to scroll up to the top hand sort of menu here and go all the way to the right hand side where you'll see the My Rating tab. Go ahead and click on that, and also click on the rating survey button. Excellent. So before I get too much further, I did want to highlight that this year we've added a little note here about accessing the rating handbook and question set if that's something you haven't seen already. So I have pulled up the example of the handbook here, and if this is your first time doing the rating, I definitely recommend taking a detailed, concentrated look at this document. It really just brings to light what you can expect from this process, who you're going to need to involve, and other great little tips like that. So make sure you take a look at that as well. Wonderful. But let's assume you've done that and you're ready to dive right in. So you'll notice we start right off the bat by asking you for a few sort of data points about your business. I obviously have sort of pre-populated this. This will be blank when you go in. But as you go along, just make sure you enter the details and push continue. Wonderful. So there may be some questions in this space that you can't actually answer right away, so feel free to leave them blank for now. I am going to show you sort of how you can come back to that at a later stage. Let me just bear with me as I kind of click through some of these info points as well. Fantastic. So this page is going to be a really big one about how about the information we ask about your other employees or your colleagues. So this is just so we ensure that we are contacting the relevant people at your business, especially when it comes to the different pillars, sourcing, society, and environment. So please make sure you fill this out quite thoroughly. If for any reason it is actually all of this responsibility lies with one person, you are going to need to just sort of copy and paste the details in each of these spaces. Wonderful! So when you get to this page, this is what's known as the table of contents. So you'll notice that this is where the questions live under each of our 10 key area framework topics. Going all the way down, you'll see they carry on for quite a while to the environment section, ending with waste no food and a submission page. So before I dive into this, let's pretend that, now you have that information that you skipped over at the beginning and you want to understand how to go back to that. So it's going to be all the way at the bottom. It's not crystal clear, which is why I want to take the opportunity to do it. You're going to, at the bottom of the table of contents, you're going to have to click this back button here. Right, so it's going to let you go back to those questions. If for some reason they're even further back, just keep clicking that button until you get to the relevant question, okay? So it's not the easiest process, but it is still possible, and we can always help you through this at a later stage as well. So great. Outside of that, let's say you're ready to sort of jump into the separate framework sections and start completing your answers. So to do so, just go ahead and click on one of the underlined spaces. You'll get a little bit of information about why we find this area to be particularly important, and then you can hit continue, which will allow you to start filling out some of the questions. Excellent. So as you go along, just sort of completing your answers and hitting continue. This will help us understand more and more about your business. So the more detailed you can be and accurate, the better. Let's say, however, that you've done what you wanted to do, you need to just take a break, and you want to be done for the time being. So it's really important to ensure that your work is saved along the way. You're going to want to hit return to contents. Right, so that's going to bring you back to this main page. After that, you can feel free to go back to any of the other places, to go completely close your browser, any of those things, and you can be rest assured that your information is stored safely. Another thing to note while we're on this topic, and because I saw it, is anytime you have to upload supporting documents, you simply just have to click the gray space here. That will allow you to kind of upload a document pretty easily. But if for some reason you've actually chosen the wrong document, it's kind of hard, you can't click the image, but if you click this gray space again, you will be allowed to kind of pick a new document and go from there. Right, okay, fantastic. So, assuming you're all set, you want to continue answering the questions. You can do so chronologically. You can actually skip from section to section as well. I'll show you an example of that. You might get some things like this. Oh, these have been unanswered, but it's okay. I'm going to continue without answering because I will be able to come back to this at a later stage. So yes, bring me back to the contents page. You'll see I can identify that I've made a little bit of progress in this section, but maybe, you know what, I have the answers and I actually want to go down here and I want to add some information to this section. So you can sort of skip around as you go, but again, to make sure that your sort of answers are always saved, you're always pushing that return to contents button. And in general, guys, it is a good rule of thumb not to leave your browser open for long periods of time unattended, because eventually you will be logged out, and that's kind of where you're at risk for some of your work possibly not being saved. So excellent. In general, while you're doing your skipping around or you're doing it chronologically, just make sure that everything is fully 100% completed before proceeding to this submission space. Wonderful. So once you've done this, this is kind of the last little step. You're going to have to kind of click this, make sure it's nice and purple, declaring that you kind of agree with that statement. And last but not least, click Submit Your Rating. Fantastic, guys. So once you see this page, it's time to pop the champagne. You've formally submitted your rating to us, and we will be in touch about the process moving forward. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch our video, guys. Bye-bye.